Hello, everyone. It's Charlton. The Dallas Morning News. This is about the shooting in Dallas of the African American man, 26-year-old at the South Side Flats in Dallas on Thursday evening around 10 p.m. You know, an officer was getting off work. She goes to the wrong apartment and ends up shooting the man who lives in that apartment. You know. Reportedly, she was confused, and we just don't know a lot more other than the details are hazy. Okay, and I continue to look into this, thinking maybe there was something more to it other than just a bad mistake. And I obviously don't know, but after looking through it, initially I thought there maybe was. I really did, but after looking through a lot of it, I think that my conclusion, it's just my opinion, is that it just was a really bad mistake. That's what it looks like. I mean, in fact, according to this, it's the Dallas Morning News that has named the person, the officer, involved here. And the police department has not officially named it, and some in the public are calling that unfair, that in situations like this, normally the person is named. There's a number of special circumstances or a unique situation, as the chief of police, I think, called it. It's been turned over to the Texas Rangers, who are investigating this. There's a number of things going on, right now in the investigation. Her blood was pulled to check her blood alcohol levels, as well as if she has drugs in her system. We don't know if she came directly home from work. She lives literally a couple blocks from the police station at this apartment complex, a fairly nice, somewhat upscale apartment complex. But this says they never met. According to this reporter, Naomi Martin, who was also the person who named her, Amber Guyger is the woman. And it's only a matter of time before the police actually name her. And they were going to be issuing an arrest warrant. They didn't, I don't think they specified, but I think the reports were manslaughter, before it was turned over to the Texas Rangers. And according to, you just have to forgive me, I'm just going to do my best. There's a lot of information here. According to the Daily Mail, the Texas Rangers actually asked the Dallas Police Department to hold off from filing charges just yet, I guess, as they investigate, maybe to keep her name out of the public domain while they investigate and make it a little easier to do their investigation. That's just my own opinion. But she claimed she had mistaken his apartment for her own. Botham Jean is the individual right there who was killed. So, and the officer is yet to be named or pictured, sparking calls for unfair treatment. And while Dallas Police Chief Renee Hall said on Friday the officer would be charged imminently, she revealed on Saturday, today I guess, during a criminal justice panel live streamed on Facebook, I did not see that, that the warrant hadn't been issued. Hall said the Texas Rangers, who are conducting an independent investigation, asked her department to hold off because they needed more time to look into the shooting. And in this press conference down here, which I doubt I'm going to play, just because there's a lot going on here, and I just want to get through this as productively as possible, she mentions that initially it was being treated as an officer-involved shooting, and that she was going to issue an arrest warrant, in a timely manner, but she now... and actually at this press conference, she was still planning on issuing a warrant, but they were no longer treating it as an officer-involved shooting, which she would normally investigate, some department within her, under her domain. But because of the unique situation, she was turning it over to the Texas Rangers, and now we are where we are. Okay, so, but she's been named in the Dallas Morning News. And according to the various facts laid out by this, Heavy.com piece, which leads on a lot of things, but her name's is out there by the Dallas Morning News. It goes through. She supposedly was devastated, and by this, obviously not much more devastated than the family and the mother and parents of this young man. But it sounds to me like this was just a really bad mistake. In this thing right here, it says from Naomi Martin, Dallas Morning News, Dallas officer Amber Guyger, who shot Botham Jean in his own apartment, was involved in a 2017 shooting of a suspect. Sources say Guyger and Jean had never met. That was one of the key pieces of information. She just moved in there. She had moved into that complex a month earlier. The odds that these two knew each other, I'd say are very low. And that pretty much, that cinches it for me that this was just a really bad mistake. We don't know what she did after stopping work and going home. Was she drinking or something like that? I don't know. It's 10 o'clock. That's not that late. So, or did she just get massively confused? And, one of the state senators, I forget his name, was asking the question, State Senator Royce West, who was on CNN, asking, was there a prior relationship? How did she manage to gain entry, get the door open? To the best of my knowledge, according to reports, and I don't think there was a prior relationship, but he was actually asking the public, to hold off on making judgment until all the facts come in. He wasn't prejudging. He wasn't. At least it didn't seem that way to me. The way she gained entry is he opened the door, and according to accounts, I don't know that, but so according to neighbors, she was shouting, police talk, as the reports that were in one of a news article, saying open up, and I think he opened the door. She was just, I think, completely confused that it was her apartment. She thought there's an intruder in there, and somehow he managed to stop her from her key working. She just, I don't know, just completely blanked out. There's various videos in here. There's video of the apartment, that night, both of the individual being wheeled out on a gurney with EMTs performing CPR on him as they take him to the ambulance, as well as a video of what appears to be the officer pacing on the phone, immediately following it. So I'll get to that in a sec. I just want to kind of quickly, but that shooting that's referenced here, she was involved in a 2017 shooting of a suspect. I read through it. It's in this heavy.com piece, and it actually seemed like a very justified shooting where she and another officer were involved with somebody who managed to get her taser from her. And she was with a partner, with another individual. I'm just paraphrasing, but so she pulled her weapon and shot him. Didn't kill him, but it was totally justified and sounded like actually a good shooting. That's what it sounded like. And she was supposedly a part of an elite unit. So I think she was actually she has a very good reputation as an officer. That's what I'm gathering from just quickly going through this. So Amber Guyger, who has been on Dallas Police Force for almost 5 years and was involved in a previous shooting, was named by the Dallas Morning News as the officer who shot and killed a well-liked St. Lucian businessman named Botham Jean. After authorities say she may have mistakenly gone to Jean's apartment thinking it was her own. There's also a video in here of Jean's door. It has a red carpet underneath it. Which is odd, how she didn't realize, that's not her apartment. I'll show you in a second. And it's the Fox 4 reporter who actually reported on this earlier about the neighbors saying, that she got off on the wrong floor. I'm assuming his apartment is immediately beneath hers or above hers. I think she was on the third floor. His apartment, she got off on the third floor. I don't know if she lives on the fourth floor or the second floor. So, Dallas Chief Police Renee Hall said the Dallas police officer who shot Jean was being charged with manslaughter, but Associated Press reported on Saturday that is no longer clear as the Texas Rangers are still investigating and want to wait on any warrants. Online records show Amber Guyger has long ties to Texas. Dallas police say Amber Guyger was in uniform when she approached Jean's apartment, and Guyger is reportedly devastated. The Dallas police released some details of what occurred in a news release on September 6, 2018, 9:59 p.m. Off-duty Dallas police officer called police dispatch. Said she was involved in a shooting at the apartment located at 1210 South Lamar. Police haven't given out a lot of information, but they did provide some details previously. Preliminary information suggests that the officer arrived home in full uniform after working a full shift. The officer reported to responding officers that she entered the victim's apartment believing that it was her own. Here's, again, you're going to have to forgive me because I'm just kind of Doing my best. Here's his door, you know. And it's got this red car. We don't know if that was placed there after this, you know, because this is obviously after the incident. You know, so it's fairly distinct, but, you know, and it literally says that in this dude, Steve Eager's Fox 4, the hallway and the door, and then doorway where police say Botham Jean was shot and killed by Dallas police officer who thought she was outside her own apartment. She was on the wrong floor. Neighbors have left flowers at Jean's door. Chief talked about manslaughter warrant Friday. Still no arrests. Thought he made a note there about her key didn't work in the door. Shooting happened shortly after resident opened his door, he wrote on Twitter. He said she was continuing to try to open the door with her own key when the door was open. Obviously, you know, a question of why she immediately just pulled her weapon and shot the guy is a big, big question. Huge question. And, you know, the mother was asking, and the mother of Botham Jean, did race play a factor? I think tons of people are going to be asking that question, obviously. And, you know, his mother seemed like a very nice lady. And, you know, she said, I think, to somebody that was interviewing that she wants to look into this person's eyes to kind of hear from her herself and see, you know, see what happened. Was there something else, or was it just a big mistake? But again, I think it was a big mistake. There it is. So Hall told reporters it's not clear whether what interaction was between them, but at some point she fired her weapon, striking the victim. She called 911. Officers responded in about 4 minutes. Here's the video of a couple different ones of paramedics trying to save his life right there. And this is what appears to be the officer, but I mean, it's not absolutely clear. My night was interrupted by a cop mistakenly murdering a neighbor. I seem to be the only one with any footage of this, so here we go. First video is of the cop. Is the cop a few seconds after she pulled the trigger crying. And the second video is them pretending to revive what I believe to be an already deceased victim. These clips come from a 10-minute video. First clip is 57 seconds into the video. Second clip is at 7:33. Right, so just to kind of expand on some of the things I was talking about, the officer, the extenuating circumstances, and a little bit of her background, which seems to be like she has a good reputation. That's what's being reported here, you know, and obviously this is horrible. I feel terrible for this person's family, you know. And, you know, it's just bad all around. But it sounds as though, it says she had just finished a 12-hour shift. Okay, so I think exhaustion is probably at least one factor here. The officer had worked for the department for 5 years. She had finished a 12-hour shift at some point before the shooting after working overtime because she made a late arrest. Police said. A written statement from the police department said the officer was tired and thought she was in her apartment, but at the press conference, Chief Renee Hall would not confirm that the officer being tired was the reason she went to the wrong apartment, you know. And then it goes It just has some public information about one of her arrests where she's responding to a domestic violence incident, and where she's just acting professionally. It sounds like to me. I don't think I need to read through it. And actually, down here, Amber Guyger was involved in a previous officer-related shooting in Botham. Shem, Jean's mother, says her son did no one any wrong. I'm sure that's the truth. I mean, the individual sounds like a model person, a model, a very good human being. It's just a bad mistake, it sounds like. But so stories posted online, a database of police shooting identified Amber Guyger as having been involved in a previous officer-involved shooting. In that one, the man lived and she was on duty, news reports show. Again, I think he managed to get her taser from her, and so she pulled her weapon, which naturally I think you would, and shot him in the abdomen, and he lived. I don't think I need to really go through that either. But it also says Amber Guyger was the only woman on an elite police unit and commented on fitness websites. Dallas Morning News reports that Guyger was the sole woman selected to serve on an elite critical response team of about 10 officers who make high-risk arrests in the division's crime hotspots. Online property records indicate that Amber Guyger might not have lived in the apartment complex where the shooting occurred for long. It sounds like she just moved in a month ago. So the odds of him knowing that person is not very high, in my opinion. And one of the other headlines here was that she was sobbing in the hallway. And I'm not trying to put only the focus on the officer, but that's who's being, that's where the suspicion lies. That's why that's what I'm looking into. It's obviously horrible for the family. I think the mother has arrived in Dallas today. They're from, the Caribbean island of St. Lucia. I think they're a prominent family. They're government officials from that island. They're not. They don't have American citizenship. The mother seemed very nice and just absolutely destroyed. So, but Officer Amber Renee Guyger, who has worked for the department for almost 5 years, cried in the hall for a minute, a witness alleges. And that's what I know so far. And thanks. That's the story there. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. I will see you in the next video. Later, man.